The check engine light. It's the universal symbol for this is probably going to be expensive. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? What if that dreaded light is actually the first clue in a mystery that you can solve, and in the process, save yourself a ton of money? So today, we're going to tackle one of the most common and most misunderstood engine codes out there.
So, picture this. Your car suddenly starts running rough, maybe shaking a little bit. You take it to a mechanic, and they drop an absolute bombshell on you. You might need a whole new engine. And that's the exact high-stakes situation we're going to unpack today. But, and this is the key, jumping to that worst-case scenario, well, that's often a massive mistake.
All right, so let's set the scene. Like so many of these stories do, it all starts with that one little light on the dash. Yep, the check engine light. So this whole thing actually comes from a real-world example. A Reddit user with a 2016 370Z, about 80,000 miles on the clock, and it just started acting weird. Just like they said, out of nowhere, boom, check engine light comes on. And when they go to drive, the car just feels sluggish. I mean, it's the classic story, right? 1 minute, everything is totally fine, and the next, your car just feels off.
Okay, so the owner started paying close attention and noticed some really specific symptoms. It wasn't just the light. The acceleration felt super weak. The engine would stutter, under load. So they pull the codes from the car's computer, and that's where we get our first big clues. P0300 and P0301. Now, both of these point directly to one thing, an engine misfire.
Right, so the car's computer is basically screaming engine misfire at us. But what does that actually mean? What's happening inside your engine? Let's get into it. A misfire is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Think about it. Inside your engine, you've got this incredible, super fast dance of combustion happening thousands of times every minute. A misfire is when just one of those cylinders, well, it fails to fire correctly. It's literally like a skipped heartbeat in the engine's rhythm, and that's what throws everything off. That's what you feel is shaking a rough performance. So you might be wondering, how does your car even know this is happening? Well, it's actually pretty brilliant. Your car's brain, the engine control module, or ECM, is constantly watching the engine's rotation speed. It uses these super precise sensors on the crankshaft and camshaft to do it. So when one cylinder misfires, it doesn't contribute power, right? This causes a teeny tiny hiccup, a split-second slowdown in the rotation. And the ECM is so sensitive, it picks up on that little fluctuation and immediately says, aha, that's a misfire, and logs a code. And this is where it gets really useful, because understanding these codes is the key to cracking the case. A P0300, that's kind of like a general alarm. It means the computer is detecting random misfires, maybe across a few different cylinders. But if you get a code like P0301 or P0302, P0303, you get the idea. That last digit is a dead giveaway. It tells you exactly which cylinder is the problem. Now in our story, the car had both a P0300 and a P0301. That combination basically put a giant flashing spotlight on cylinder number 1 as our main suspect. So, okay, armed with these codes, the driver does the smart thing, right? They take it to a mechanic. But the diagnosis they got back was, pretty alarming. The mechanic's take was, let's try replacing all the fuel injectors. But then, and this is the kicker, he added that if that didn't fix it, the next step might have to be a full engine swap. I mean, for a misfire code, that's a huge, huge leap.
Let's just put a number on that for a second. An engine swap is one of the biggest, most expensive jobs you can do on a car. We're talking $5,000 plus. All of a sudden, that little check engine light looks a whole lot more terrifying, doesn't it?
And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. When you're facing a misfire, is jumping to the most catastrophic, wallet-destroying repair really the only option? Or is there a better, smarter way to go about this?
Well, spoiler alert, yes. Thankfully, there's a much smarter path. Leaping straight to the worst-case scenario is almost never the right move.
And if we go back to that Reddit thread, other users started chiming in, basically acting as the voice of reason. One person said that a swap seems very hasty and that, it's probably something small and easy to fix. And honestly, that is some seriously critical wisdom right there.
So what is this smarter path? It's really just a logical checklist. Instead of starting with the biggest, most expensive possibility, you start with the simplest, cheapest, and most common culprits. Look, a misfire almost always boils down to one of three things: a problem with spark, a problem with fuel, or a problem with air. So this checklist just helps you methodically check the most likely suspects, starting with the easiest stuff first.
And a lot of the time, the problem is something you can literally see with your own eyes. Just take a look here. On the left, that's a nice, healthy spark plug. But on the right, that one is fouled. You can see it's all worn and covered in gunk. All those deposits prevent it from making a good, strong spark. And believe it or not, this right here is one of the single most common causes of a misfire. And the best part? It's a cheap and super easy part to replace.
Okay, so our driver hears all this advice. They reject that $5,000 nightmare scenario. So what was the real fix? What was the solution to the mystery?
Well, we got an update from the original poster, and you're going to love this. They followed that exact logical checklist. They swapped out the spark plug, the ignition coil, that's the part that sends the juice to the spark plug, and the fuel injector, but only for cylinder 1. They focused right on the cylinder the code pointed to. And the result? The code's cleared and the car runs like a top again. Boom, mystery solved.
And this really puts it all into perspective. On one side, you have the mechanic's suggestion, a $5,000 plus engine swap. And on the other side, the actual fix, maybe $150, $250 in parts. That huge difference in cost, that's the power of smart, methodical diagnosis. It's about starting simple and not letting panic take over.
So what are the big takeaways here? How can you use this story the next time your car decides to throw a code at you? Well, here's your playbook.
Okay, first and most important, do not panic. A steady check engine light is just your car telling you, hey, something's up, you should check it out. Now, if it's flashing, that's more serious. That means pull over safely. But a steady light is just a call to investigate. Second, always start with the simple stuff. Check your spark plugs, coils, and wires first. These are maintenance items. They're designed to be replaced eventually. Third, and this is huge, remember that a fault code like P0300 is the start of the investigation. It is not the final verdict. And last but not least, never, ever underestimate the power of a second opinion. Whether it's from another shop or from a knowledgeable online community, it can save you a world of hurt. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time your engine stumbles or that little light pops on, what's going to be your first move? Because now you know the answer isn't always the scariest, most expensive one. Sometimes it's just a simple fix, waiting for you to find it.